Good morning from Vietnam.
Good
Hi.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good
Good
evening in your
evening from
time.
Philadelphia.
Good evening in your time. So, Annie, thank you so much for spending your evening with us and with the program, with the people in the program inside sharing that I've been hosting since July last year. And the talk today that will all about you and what you've been doing, who you are. So, please have to introduce to our audience who you are. Can you do that first, please?
Sure. So I'm Annie Leib, and I am founder and CEO of Annie Leib LLC and Breath Framework Incorporated. And it is a coaching business, an executive coaching business. We do personal and professional development, and we've created a unique modality for coaching called the Breath Framework, which I can get into later or I can explain now. But it's an acronym, and it helps people get on a healing journey to find their authentic selves. So I do this in the corporate world, helping professionals to kind of align with who they are and their core values and help them be better leaders and make more impact.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Annie, I would like to bring you all the way to when you were young, okay? And we would like to examine when you was young, what did you dream, and one day you're gonna become, and then compared to who you are and what you've been doing today. So when you were young, what did you dream up one day you're gonna become, Annie?
Well, I always sort of had this healing nature about me. There was always something that was sort of empathic and could feel other people's feelings. So I didn't know exactly what I wanted to become, but I knew I was on a path to help other people. And I didn't know that I was going to have to go on the journey that I went on through my own healing, but then through doing that, I was able to create this modality to help other people heal. So I don't think I knew it really. I was in pharmaceutical sales and business development for years and marketing, and I didn't know what I really wanted to do until about COVID 2020, when it really hit me. I finished my executive MBA in Philadelphia at St. Joe's University, and the whole cohort I was working with said, "You have to start coaching." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm in pharma." And they said, that's who you are. That's what you're meant to do. And it's like I found my life's mission to help other people heal and to get them to a place of authenticity and personal freedom. And that's where I have ended up in this place that I've coined the soul center, a place where you are aligned with your core values and you're whole. And for a long time, I wasn't. So I know exactly what it feels like to be somebody that was blocked and sort of needed help getting to this authentic place. So that's what I do now. I help professionals become unblocked and get to their most authentic place.
You mentioned about your personal healing process. What happened back then, though?
I come from a long line of just like divorced parents, and then I myself got divorced, and I went through some bumpy times where I was just not happy and I couldn't figure out why. And it was really because I just didn't know my life's purpose. And so, in discovering that and going through the process of healing, and becoming whole instead of broken, and figuring out the things, childhood trauma and things like that you go through, healing those wounds, and then sort of delving into who I am as a person and my core values, and creating this modality called Breath Framework, and then starting this business really helped me sort of step into my own truth. So it's almost like the more that I heal, the more I can heal other people.
Absolutely. I, I, I think finding purpose is something is not a lot of people had the privilege, had the luck to doing that. And I also spent a long time in my life looking for what is the purpose that I'm putting on earth for. And how did you figure out your life purpose? How did it all started, Annie?
Well, it started from just a time of sort of building my life back. I had little babies and I was getting divorced, and I started to build my life back brick by brick. And in that time, you either crumble or you get more whole and you find yourself. And then through COVID in 2020, when I finished the executive MBA degree, I was like, what do I want to do? I'm in pharmaceutical sales, but that's not what my life's purpose is. My purpose is to elevate humanity, help people be wholer versions of themselves. And I knew that was my life's purpose because everyone around me was telling me, and it's what lights me up. It's what lights my fire.
Mm.
So I knew that's what I was meant to do when I started coaching one or two people, and then I landed a big corporate account and I started coaching their entire executive leadership team, and now
Wow.
it's become a fairly large business that I'm operating and still continuing to scale.
Mm. I saw in your LinkedIn profile you say that a lot of corporate leaders are not being coached as a whole pupil, and what did you mean by that? If as not a whole pupil?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of coaching out there, and I
Mm.
think there's a lot of professional development, so
Mm.
360s and assessments and leadership development and things like that. But I don't think that the whole person is being coached, meaning I don't think there's a lot of professional development. So where my company comes in is where the two mesh, the intersection of personal and professional. So the whole person. So it's just, not your C-suite title or your senior vice president title. It's you're also a mom. You're also, a leader in your community. There's lots of pieces to us. We all wear different hats. And I think the whole person should be recognized when they're being coached, and then we can really find. What I find is like people they go through life and they have no idea who their real selves are. They don't know who they are. They know what they do, but they don't know who they are. So I help people uncover that, and it makes them sort of align with their authenticity and their true self, and then they can impact and they can be happier, more content people.
And why is it important if they've been, for as a leader to be the whole person?
Well, because there's a lot of different reasons, but when you're leading people and they respect you and you respect them, and you have resiliency and you have adaptability, and you have empathy and compassion, and you lead people like they want to be in need. So I think that, when you lead people and you're trying to make an impact for the company, it's really important to have the respect and admiration of the people around you, sort of lead by example and model the behavior. And when you are looked at as a whole person, you can treat the people that work for you as whole people. And that's the way people need and want to be treated. When they're treated as a whole human and seen as a whole person, they do better work for you when and they can make more impact as leaders themselves.
Thanks so much for sharing that. The term authenticity has been in the business, in the psychology world for a while, but we really start seeing, corporations start to push out for the leaders to be real person, to be fully, authentic and show the strength, also showing vulnerabilities also. So I think your job is wonderful in helping leaders to get into the next level, being in the corporate world, also being injecting the personal brand onto the corporate brands also. Annie, and how did you come up with the breath framework? Can you share with us, the journey
So,
of getting to that and what it is?
So breath is a really important word to me. When I was at a really low point in my life, I actually looked over on the wall and I saw a poem and it had the word breath in it. And I thought, you could take everything from me, but you can't take my breath. That's mine. And I actually got it tattooed on me. That was in 2015. So fast forward to 2020, where I'm figuring out who I am and my truth and what I'm supposed to be doing in this life. And I'm working with someone who I no longer work with, but we did a lot of work together. And we are like, that word needs to be an acronym. So we think of breath as an acronym. B is for begin where you are. R is reclaim your power. E is excavate core values. A is allow. T is through, and H is heal. And it takes we created a 6-month curriculum to take people from their begin all the way to their healing spot, where they can sort of come into their wholeness, their personal freedom aligned with their core values and who they really are and their authentic selves, and therefore make more impact as leaders.
Wow. Can you start to explain to us either, one of the words in there, how it looks like? Can you share it with us? For example, like reclaim or excavate, how that
Sure.
process
So
look, yeah.
excavating core values, I think, is they're all really, really important. But excavating core values is really, that's the one that I'll probably point out to you, is because most people don't really know the core values that they're based on, that they live their life based on. Some people don't even have any idea what that means. And I didn't. And I remember looking through a long list of core values and thinking, this one, that one, okay, but freedom, why would anybody pick freedom? What does that even mean? I remember thinking that, like, laughing. I realized after excavating and doing a deep dive into myself that freedom is my overarching core value. It's the one that's threaded throughout all of the other ones. So my core values and my company's core values are love, freedom, perseverance, trust, and truth. But freedom is the one that's threaded and woven throughout all of the other ones. If I don't have my freedom to be me, authentically me, then I don't have anything. So that's what I help people do, uncover what their values are, what they're basing their life on, and therefore who they really are. Figuring out who these people, these professionals really are. They're not just their title. They're not just a mom or a dad. They're not just anything. They're a lot of different things. And people just don't realize how much makes them up and what values they're basing their life on. When you can figure out your values and align with them, you can do it. Because then you're walking around and you're authentically you.
Annie, your works deal with a lot of successful individual, all right, and then also my work we work a lot with successful individual, and when they're successful, it's like it's hard for them to realize that they needed help, right? And how can you come into a conversation and start to show successful people who have a good performance record, who got into a very top leaders position in their organization, and say, hey, you need help in this area, and this is how I can help you. How do you start that conversation?
I think that that's the wrong angle to take. So I think you need help is probably not going to benefit me. I think it's more of let's talk about what you're doing and how to become the best version of you. So when you can align, like I said, with those core values and figure out who you really are and use your authenticity and vulnerability and empathy and compassion to lead and make an impact, then you can be the best version of you in all aspects of your life, at home, at work, wherever. So it's more about not changing who these people are, not helping, not therapy. It's guiding them and coaching them to be the best version of themselves. And I think that when you take that angle, when you explain to people that's what you do, it's less offensive.
What if the people took it into an offensive position and say, okay, I'm good at what I am already, and then having more, onto the table means I need to spend more time, more works and things like that. So, what's the benefit of doing, getting your service and making them, grow as a whole person? Where is it adding values to them? How can you persuade them for that, Annie?
Well, listen, there's going to be a couple different avenues here. First of all, there's going to be people that are not open to being helped and healed, and that's okay. They're not ready. So it's not forcing that, right? I'm not going to try to persuade anybody. I'll tell them what I do. I'll explain how it's helped me and other professionals. I have testimonials and case studies on people that have had incredible impact using our modality. But if they're not open to it, they're not ready. So I don't want to say waste my time, but I don't expend my energy on those people. They have to have an open-mindedness.
I got it.
To say, I'm really good at what I do, but I want to be better, or I want to be the best version of me. Or the other avenue is I like to ask people what fulfillment means to them. So if they can close their eyes and tell me the last time they were really fulfilled and describe that to me in detail, which 85% of people can't do. So as soon as they can't do it, that's 8.5 out of 10 people can't do that. I say, I want to get you to a place where you can describe that to me. Wow. I want you to feel fulfillment. I want you to feel contentment, and I can help you. And then, who doesn't want to feel that?
Annie, when I look at your journey, okay, you get into a coaching services and a coaching business not that long, but you have a very rich experience, and I think it's the life teaching you a lot of experience that you can embed it onto work and life and show the people. And is that something that I can see correctly?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been, like I said, my parents' divorce was really hard, my own divorce, figuring out who I was, dealing with being on my own, as a single mom, and dealing with depression and anxiety in my past. So like these are all trials and tribulations I've had to overcome, and these are life situations that I can apply to helping and healing other people. There's very little that people tell me about that I'm like, I have no idea what you mean. I know, I understand, I can relate, and I'm an empathic person. I'm an empath, so I feel other people anyway. So yes, I have my coaching certificate. I'm certified, right? And I have a couple years of coaching under my belt. Great experience in C-suites and executives in big Fortune 500 companies. But I don't have 10, 15, 20 years under my belt, but I have a lot of life. I'm 43. So I've lived a lot of life, and I know the ways that I've been down and up and how I've overcome those obstacles. And that helps people, because when you can relate to them, that's what people want. They want to feel like they're not alone. They want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. That's what people want.
And you earlier you coined the term that back in 2015. That's where you keep looking at the word breath, right? And you want to make something out of that. You say that people can take some things away from you, but they can never take the breath away from you. And but there can be different kind of words back then that you can pick. Instead of breath, it could be something else. Why did the word breath resonated with you back then? Did you figure that out?
It was something that I felt like when I was at such a low point. I felt like, you can strip me of everything, but that's mine. Like, that's mine. That no one can take that from me. And it just resonated with me and stuck with me. And plus, it's on my body. It's on my hip. It's something that I have with me all the time. When you get a tattoo, it's with you forever. So it's so meaningful for me. And then that time between 2015 and 2020 was such a building 5 years of brick by brick putting my life back together and figuring out my way. That that's why that word meant so much. That's why the coaching modality is named that. And then the letters just made sense when we made it an acronym. So it's just the way that the healing curriculum worked. It makes sense to begin with your begin, and then get your power back, and then your core values and all the pieces to get to this place of wholeness and your authentic self. So it just sort of, that's how it worked out. It played out.
Wow, I think that at the end of the day, all the dots have been connected in very beautiful way. And Annie, you are very brave, very strong, and we really admire of you going through up and downs in your time, but you're not giving up, and you keep going forward and trying to be a better self, a better version every day. So thank you so much for demonstrate that and be role model for us and for the people
You're
around
so
you.
welcome.
Annie,
You're welcome.
you're also an author, are you?
So I co-authored, I did a collaborative book with my team, coaches, called Begin with the Breath. And it's I did the introduction, and it's everybody's experience with breath framework and coaching with it. So it's each person on my team's experience and how it's affected their life. So it's a really cool book of different chapters of how people have experienced this framework and modality and how it's changed their life.
But how did you create, how did you think about that idea and make it happen though at the beginning?
I have a really strong team. These are people that believe in my mission and vision. These are people that I work with and coach with, and that I believe in, and they each have their unique gifts. They're very brilliant people that each have gifts, very particular gifts to each of them, and they're very special people to me. And I thought, if I'm going to write my first book, let's all do it together. We just had a meeting one night. A group of women thought, let's just do this. What are we waiting for?
Wow.
So then we just put it together and printed it and made it happen. Put it on Amazon.
Just make it happen, right? Like the slogan for Nike, just do it, and then things happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Annie, we understand, how you get into the point who you are today. Is there anything exciting that you're about to do that you would like to share with the audience here?
Sure. I mean, we're revamping the website to reflect more of the corporate side of things. Our pivot, recently, going towards really that professional and personal development intersection. I'm coming up with a digital product, so I'm creating a course so that people will be able to take my breath framework and learn about it in little doses. so I'm just sort of creating that now. I'm also going to write my own book about breath framework and sort of how I created it in my journey. So that's my next step.
Yeah.
So just a few of those things.
So when's your new book gonna be released, you think?
I would say between 6 months and a year.
6 months in a year. So I'll connect back to you toward the end of this year, and then we see how the journey, how is progress for that. Is that okay?
Absolutely, I would love that.
And thank you so much for spending your evening with us in the audience. And I don't think that I really love the journey that you've been having, and definitely it has a lot of flavors in there, has a lot of feelings in there, and that actually making you becoming who you are today. And when the strength can really coming from the inside, there's nobody can take that strength, that breath away from you. And we would want that to be multiplied to many, many more people through your service, through your stories. And please keep demonstrate your strength, demonstrate your story, share your story more often to the people around you. Okay.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you very
appreciate you.
much. And then if you one day again, if you one day you and your family ever come to my country, please let us know in advance, and I would love to be your host in here and take you guys around. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annie. Please
I'll see you
say
soon.
hello to everybody and hello to
I
your
will.
team for us. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.